palsy in Egypt or sleeping sickness in Central Africa. We don't know the vector. I haven't isolated the virus, but I've got a lead.
Yes, I read your paper. Are you still following up that plant extract?
No, I've gone beyond that. I've run into he's sort of a herb doctor. Up in the hill. He's got the wildest materia medica you ever heard of. I haven't isolated the active agent yet.
Any results?
Results? I've brought patients out of Donaldson's coma. I can show recoveries 15% better than any previous therapy.
Eli.
It's like banging your head against a brick wall. And then suddenly there's I call it an aha.
An aha.
An aha. Suddenly there it is, staring you right in the face. And it's as if you said, aha. I swear, Lou, I can feel that coming with this one. Just like that first time on the lizard gland.
Well, I don't know.
You ever feel that?
Oh, I don't know if the administrative mind has aha.
I want to show you the isolation setup. I've got a patient. Recovery from Donaldson. A woman about 25.
Eli, let's have dinner first. You can show him the hospital in the morning. And Eli, at dinner. Let's just talk about Lou.
Oh, Lou. Lou, I'm sorry. Listen, tell me about the trip.
Doctor, good morning.
Don't get up. Sit down.
It's amazing, isn't it? There've been over 100 patients already.
That's about average. Some of them have been coming down from the hills for the last 3 days. I was here, under the old colonial administration. Long before Harris, the nearest hospital was 600 miles away. I've seen bubonic in the provincial capital. I've seen plague wagons rolling through the streets at night. Bring out your dead. You might as well have been in London in the 14th century. By the way, this came last night by helicopter. It's an order in council from the ministry directing me to make charges against Dr. Harris for criminal negligence in connection with the death of Louise Hahn.
A little absurd, isn't it?
No, it isn't. Mr. Hahn's very rich. He controls the north-south freight routes. He's a member of the Constitutional Central Committee. I have no option but to convene a district court and bring Harris to trial.
Mr. Arkway, Dr. Harris happens to have a genius for medical research. He's abstract and he's eccentric, but he wouldn't do anything that wasn't medically sound.
I don't really care about that. I need this hospital, and it won't run without Harris. That's the worst of dealing with saints. Once they're martyred, you're out of business.
Yes, I've got that, huh? Have you told him yet?
No, poor fellow. I have to serve the papers on him in the proper manner.
Yes, well, I don't see how a court can judge an issue like that. There isn't a man in this whole country who knows enough about Donaldson.
I was hoping to persuade you to help us. Oh, I know I can't serve papers on your diplomatic status, but you could be a voluntary witness.
Against Dr. Harris?
No, of course not. As an impartial expert, you know about tropical diseases, scientific procedure.
I can't get involved in a local controversy. I have to be in Bangkok on the 27th.
I dare say, but please let me state my case. I must have the hospital, and I must have Harris with it, and I can't offend Mr. Hahn. He's too powerful. I need your help. It's as simple as that. And if the worst comes to the worst, I must appeal to you as one of his closest friends.
Excuse me. Mr. Arkway, in all honesty, you may appeal to me as a colleague of Dr. Harris, but not as a friend.
Try not to hurt you.
One more shot, Dave, but it's easy.
We've known each other for years, but we're not friends.
I see. I appreciate your candor, and of course, I respect your position.
I just wanted you to be aware of the relationship.
Thank you.
Of course, I'll do whatever I can to ease the situation. I'll go to see this man, the father, see what I can do to have him drop the charges.
Well, it might work. I'll arrange a meeting.
Yes.
Eli, what is that?
Tetracycline, normal prescription. If we're low, use one of the sulfurs.
Well, may I help you, Mr. Arkway?
I'm afraid not, Mrs. Harris. Dr. Harris. Dr. Harris. It's my painful duty to inform you that a charge has been preferred against you. I must caution you that anything you say may be...
Please, Mr. Arkway, I'm very busy.
There's a preliminary hearing tomorrow morning. I suggest you engage legal counsel.
What are you talking about? I have 4 cataract operations lined up at Jackdaw Village tomorrow morning. Not now, Mr. Arkway, please.
Eli, it's serious. It's Louise Hahn, isn't it?
Yes, Miss Harris, I'm afraid it is. You're quite right, it is serious. It's a charge of murder.
Raising a child today isn't like it was a few years ago. There are so many new developments each month.
$7 off the newsstand price. But
carrying filth and breathing the foul air of the wards.
Mr. Hahn, in the West, women of the highest social classes volunteer to care for the sick. Now, you can't press a charge of murder because of that. Your daughter died of Donaldson's disease. That's not Dr. Harris's fault. He did everything he could to save her.
Did he? You are a scientist, sir. You have done research. You take a small animal, one of little worth, perhaps a white rat. You try out something new. You inject the rat and observe. Your motives are noble. You wish to conquer a disease. And yet, bad luck, sir. Misfortune. The drug does not work. The animal is dead. Your laboratory assistant picks it up with the tongs and throws it out with the rubbish. It was so with my daughter. Bad luck. And she is with the rubbish behind the Anglican church.
Eli Harris probably knows more about wind fever than any man in the world. He's been researching it for 10 years. Your daughter was in the best possible hands.
Do you know what hands she was in? There is a man from the hill villages, a witch man. He mutters nonsense. He makes medicine out of crushed insects and roots.
Dr. Harris has always investigated local folk medicine. But he wouldn't treat your daughter with anything that wasn't properly tested.
Do you say that because you have investigated what occurs at the hospital? Or because you support each other blindly, you Western American white doctors?
Eli? What is that? Who are you?
Sir.
You a patient?
No, sir.
You work here? I haven't seen you around before.
No, sir.
And you must be the man from the hill village, the herb doctor.
That is a kind translation, sir. When British first came, they called my grandfather a sorcerer.
I understand you've been helping Dr. Harris with his research.
We have consulted in certain cases.
Were you here when that girl died? Hahn. Louise Hahn.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Harris called you in for consultation.
Yes, sir. Excuse me, sir. I have obligations.
Lou, are you coming in?
Yes, I want to talk to Eli.
Oh, they brought a patient in by litter with wind fever. He's in the wards with him now. He'll probably be there all night.
Have you been working with Eli on Donaldson's research?
I? Oh, no, I've been involved with hospital routine.
See, I just saw a man over there. He's from one of those hill villages, a herbal doctor.
Oh, I suppose he brought some roots and leaves for Eli to analyze.
How far has he gone with his herbal research?
Well, I don't know. I haven't read Eli's notes in almost 2 years.
Why not?
Well, I just don't know. I've been busy. It takes almost 16 hours a day to run this hospital. I guess I haven't had time to follow his research more closely.
Yeah, well, I guess it has been a hard life. Has it been a happy one?
Of course. You saw for yourself what rather Eli accomplishes every day.
I asked you if it was a happy life. I didn't ask you if it was a heroic one.
You mean any regrets? No, Lou, no regrets.
How do we get on this subject again? Oh, yes, Arkway wants me to testify in court as an expert.
Will you?
I don't know. I don't trust my own judgment anymore. I keep on wondering if I still feel the same way about you as I did when you called from Boston, breaking our engagement and saying that you'll marry Eli instead. And when he talks of beating wind fever, I suddenly realize that I'm hoping he's wrong. That for once, he isn't so brilliant.
Oh, Lou. And you want me to say something that'll make it easier for you? You want me to give you permission? Is that it? You won't get it.
Oh, Eli? How's the patient?
In coma.
Did he come by here? That Hillman?
I think so. Why?
Eli, I want to see him. He was here when that girl died, wasn't he?
Of course he was here.
Was he in the room with the patient?
I think so, part of the time.
Did you use his medication?
Lou, I haven't got time for this kind of cross-examination.
Did you run tests? Did you do animal trials? Did you run an analysis on the stuff?
If you don't mind, I've got a patient.
Eli, you've been accused of malpractice and murder.
I know! They almost lynched Jenner when they started to vaccinate for smallpox. They accused Pasteur. Murdered. They tried to drive Semmelweis out of medicine. Every innovator has been damned and accused and obstructed by fools.
Eli, for heaven's sakes.
Lou. Do you know what it'll mean to this district to control Donaldson's disease? Have you ever seen infants left outside a village to die because the mother and father were dead of wind fever and nobody had enough rice to feed the orphans?
Eli, I don't think that's the point.
I'm less than a year away.
Eli, just tell me that the herb doctor didn't actually treat the patient. Just tell me that you tested before...
I brought patients out of Donaldson's coma. Do you know what that means? I can show you men and women walking around who ought to be dead.
Eli, there are standards. There are experimental procedures.
No. That's the book. Sometimes the book doesn't work.
He's in there.
Look, please. This is a question of hard, objective facts. I can show you results. Statistics. Recoveries from Donald. I need that man in there. He's my source. He knows the plants. He knows how to mix them.
Recoveries don't mean a thing. 20% recover spontaneously. Eli, I'm trying to give you every possible chance.
I know. You're in a position to get up at that trial and destroy my research in my hospital. Well, you can't take that responsibility. I know how you feel. I realize you've always resented me professionally. I don't blame you. I understand. I know that you and Martha were engaged to her before we were married. But I'm asking you to look at your motivations. Look. Can't you see why you're doing this? You've got to understand. A year. 6 months. I need the time. I know this is the lead.
I felt it before. I know this is it. I've seen it work. 6 months. And I'll have it nailed down as a cold, hard, scientific fact. Believe me, Lou. Believe me.
Please listen carefully to a very special TV offer from National Shop at Home Service. How would you like to treat yourself to the most heavenly sleeping experience of your life? Announcing the incredible new Dream Bed. You'll feel like you're floating on a cloud because you actually sleep on a cushion of air. The secret is a revolutionary system of tubular air coils that gently but firmly support your body, providing the even orthopedic support that doctors recommend. But look, you won't believe your eyes. Dream Bed is actually an inflatable mattress. Folded, it's the size of a hat box, weight only 12 pounds, easily stored on a closet shelf. Inflated, it's a luxurious portable bed that turns any room into a bedroom in just minutes. And it inflates so easily you don't even need an air pump. Just insert a blow dryer and a leak-proof valve and it inflates to a sturdy full-size mattress in less than 2 minutes. Any type vacuum cleaner works just as quickly and easily. Best of all, you control the firmness so you'll never awaken with lower back pain from a too soft, lumpy mattress. And Dream Bed works everywhere. No guest room in your apartment? Dream Bed turns any room into a guest bedroom for family or friends. Dream Bed is perfect for slumber parties. Its heavy-duty 24-gauge construction is built to withstand tears and abrasions. And the beautiful velveteen camel surface is actually water stain resistant. Dream Bed is the ideal traveling companion. Use it in your van, your camper, your mobile home. Take Dream Bed on your next picnic or camping trip and spend a dreamy afternoon in the sun. Or just for a change of atmosphere, try Dream Bed for a dreamy evening at home. The beautiful full-size Dream Bed is an amazing value priced right at only $49.95. Plus, if you act now, we'll include over $50 in coupons that can be used like cash when you purchase our other great products. Use your credit card and order Dream Bed today for a dreamy tonight.
COD and credit card order. Call toll-free 1-800-648-5555 or save all COD charges and send check or money order for $49.95 to Dream Bed, Box 1155, Norfolk, Virginia. Allow 4 to 6 weeks for delivery.
Don't turn the dial, won't you stay for a while? We want to entertain you. Stay with us. We're CBS.
Gila Jeremiah Harris, you have heard the charge. How say you? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty, may it please your lordship.
Very well. You may proceed for the district. Mr. McNair.
Dr. Lewis James Rutledge. Dr. Lewis James Rutledge.
I put to you a hypothetical question as an expert witness, Dr. Rutledge, sir. If you had under your care a patient suffering from a deadly disease, would you relegate the treatment of that patient, the medical judgment, the choice of drugs, to a medically untrained person, to an illiterate person?
No, sir, I would not.
Would you allow the administration of medication, the ingredients of which you are ignorant?
No, sir.
Would you consider as medically efficacious incantations and superstitious magic?
No, sir.
In your opinion, sir, would a doctor who did these things be acting properly according to the standards of the scientific practice of medicine?
No, sir, he would not.
Would you consider such behavior negligent?
Yes, sir.
Would you consider it criminally negligent?
That would depend on the statute in question.
I ask your opinion, sir, as a scientist and a doctor. Would you consider it criminally negligent?
I might.
And my lord, would you instruct the witness to answer with a simple yes or no?
You will answer yes or no, Dr. Rutledge.
Would you consider it criminally negligent?
Yes, I would.
Thank you, Dr. Rutledge. I have no more questions.
Doctor, on the subject of incantations and superstitious magic, I believe you said you don't consider them medically efficacious.
No, sir, I do not.
Tell me, sir, have you ever attended a patient so seriously ill that a clergyman was called in?
Yes, I have.
Have you ever seen a Christian priest, sir, kneel at a bedside and repeat his office, the Lord's Prayer, perhaps, or the Rosary? Would you not consider that an incantation?
I suppose so, yes.
To a non-believer, might not candles, prayers, incense, oil seem superstitious magic?
Might.
I presume, then, you would not consider yourself criminally negligent for allowing such incantations and, meaning no offense, superstitious magic in the sick room.
No, but at the same time...
Now then, sir, you are aware of Dr. Harris's international reputation in the field of tropical medicine, particularly in the development of new materia medica.
Yes.
Do you recall what his first major discovery was? Could you refresh our minds on that score?
Yes, I do. It was the isolation and synthesis of protothiazole.
And how was this discovered?
By the investigation of folk medication in Baja, California.
An important contribution to medicine?
Yes.
Now, doctor, if you had a patient diagnosed as schizophrenia or some other severe mental
Lord,
disorder...
we're discussing wind fever, not schizophrenia.
May it please you, my lord. My learned colleague has asked the expert doctor several hypothetical questions. I merely propose to follow his excellent example.
You may go on.
I put to you, sir. Would you treat such a patient with the root of a plant called Chota Shod, supplied to you by a naked holy man in a small village in the Punjab of India?
You're speaking of Rauwolfia.
Yes, sir. Rauwolfia serpentina. You recognize it, sir?
Yes, I do. Various tranquilizing drugs have developed from the discovery of Rauwolfia. However, I don't...
Thank you, sir. May I ask you, sir, if you had a patient suffering from a sword slash, would you consider treating him perhaps with a paste made from the rotted livers of fish mixed with cobwebs? Would you, sir?
I suppose not.
But the ancient Vikings did, sir. And the Lancet, the British medical journal, points out that they were probably correct. Fish liver is a source of vitamin D, which has recently been rediscovered as useful applied externally to wounds. Cobwebs contain a chemical substance which hastens the coagulation of blood. You were not aware of this, doctor?
Not directly, no.
Is it possible, sir, that there's a great deal of which you are not directly aware? Is it possible, sir, that the area between the so-called proper treatment as known to orthodox medicine and those frontiers of brilliant discovery are sometimes shrouded in disagreement and shadow?
I suppose that's true.
Is it not so, sir, that some of the most brilliant contributions to medicine have been opposed by the authorities?
Yes.
And damned as superstitious and irrational?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
No, that's not all. I mean, there have to be proper tests. They have to be controlled, standards, scientific standards.
And this is your only objection to Dr. Harris?
Yes.
This is your only motive in testifying against?
Yes.
Doctor, sir, you have known the defendant for many years.
That's right, yes.
You were students together?
Yes.
This was at the time when Dr. Harris's first brilliant discovery was announced?
Yes.
You yourself, sir, had no similar triumphs at the time?
No.
You were acquainted, then, with Martha Harris, the defendant's wife?
We were students together, yes.
In fact, sir, you were on the most intimate terms with her before she and the defendant were married.
My lord, I protest. These vague insinuations are not material to this trial.
My lord, I insist the witness's motivation in testifying reflects on his credibility.
Witness may answer.
Will you answer then, sir? You were in love with her then?
I suppose so. We were very young. Yes.
You have remained unmarried, sir?
Yes.
I suggest to you, Dr. Rutledge, that your motivation in testifying against the prisoner now is far from scientific and objective.
No, I don't think...
I suggest to you, sir, that you are professionally envious of the prisoner, that you have always been so. I suggest to you, sir, that you have always resented his superior medical reputation, and that you have hated him for taking from you the woman you love.
My lord,
I suggest, sir, that your testimony is the result of malice, not cross-examining.
Mr. Farn, will you kindly phrase your examination so that the witness may answer? Question, sir. Ask a question.
My lord, I put to you, sir, can you deny the possibility that your judgment is not twisted by long-standing malice and envy of the prisoner?
That's not the point. I'm talking about objective scientific standards.
You have not answered my question, sir. Within this past week, have you not said that you were not sure whether to trust your own judgment? Have you not admitted the possibility that you might be acting in response to long-standing malice to the prisoner? Have you not expressed a wish that Dr. Harris might fail? Can you deny that you said this? I ask you, sir, is this not true?
Yes. Yes, it's true.
My lord, I have no further questions.
You may step down, Dr. Rutledge.
I request a recess at this time.
Very well. Recess for 1 hour.
Thank you, my lord.
If you served in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, National Guard, or Reserves, you can now apply for cash benefits from the Veterans Life Insurance Company.
Things are really going well, aren't they? Thon really tore Lou apart, didn't he?
I suppose he did.
Must be obvious to the judge that he can't be objective. I'm sorry that we had to bring you into it. It's better to get it over with.
I know.
I really feel sorry for Lou. His whole reputation will be shaky.
Eli.
It may be less than 6 months, if this works out. 4, maybe 3. And then we could go home. I know you'd like that.
Time,
It would take me about 6 months to break in a replacement.
Eli, I have to go. We'll make plans after time.
And if you help me get the notes together, it would go faster.
All right, I'll help you when it's over.
Maybe 2 months.
Gentlemen, I'm in an awkward position. Mr. Farn, if I may say so, has put up a brilliant defense, but I can't risk an acquittal. Mr. Hahn would have the whole district down round our heads. On the other hand, if Dr. Harris is convicted, I lose the hospital.
Seems like an insoluble problem.
Oh, I don't think so at all. Mr. McNair, I suggest that you call that Hill doctor and prove that he actually treated the girl before she died.
Aye, that I can do, but I don't...
You have plenty of evidence, charms, spells, magic. What more could you possibly want? Pretty damaging evidence, I would say. I doubt whether you'll be able to shake it, Mr. Farm. Besides, no proof that Harris knew anything about it or gave his consent. We know that the ill doctor was hanging around the hospital. Anything he did, as far as we're concerned, must have been off his own hook.
It's possible.
You agree that he was in violation of the code?
Well, 603/086.
And he probably won't get more than a year, will he?
6 months with parole, the last one I prosecuted.
Yes, besides, prison was nothing to these fellows. There'll be no stigma or anything like that. Of course, Mr. Hahn won't like it much, but provided there's a conviction of some sort, I doubt very much whether they'll back him at the Capitol, and Harris can carry on at the hospital. What do you say, Mr. Farn?
I see no objection from the point of view of my client.
Thank you. It's the only expedient way. I think we understand each other, gentlemen.
Mr. Holon, will you tell the court your occupation?
I am a healer, sir.
You have no formal medical education, I assume?
No, sir. My father taught me.
Now, sir, it's been testified that you frequented the district hospital.
Yes, sir. Dr. Harris met me in the...
I haven't asked you about Dr. Harris. Will you kindly limit yourself to answering my questions?
Yes, sir.
On the night of the 23rd last, were you present in the hospital in the room of the deceased Miss Louise Hahn?
Yes, sir.
Did you administer any medication or drug to the deceased?
Yes, sir.
This was a substance which you yourself compounded?
Yes, sir.
And you brought it to the hospital yourself?
Yes, sir.
Did you perform any incantations or magic spells?
Yes, sir.
Are you aware, sir, that these actions are in violation of the criminal code?
My father was healer before me, and my grandfather.
And are you aware, sir, that the girl to whom you gave this unidentified potion subsequently died?
Yes, sir.
I have no further questions.
I have no questions of this witness, my lord.
My lord, may I point out that the witness has confessed to a violation of the criminal code. May I request a bench warrant for his detention until a charge can be filed?
So ordered.
My lord, learned counsel, the district rests.
My lord, may I respectfully move for dismissal of the charge against Dr. Harris.
Wait, where are you taking him?
The district has failed to prove that the improper action taken in regard to the deceased were in any way the responsibility of the accused.
What's going on here? Defendant will remain silent.
I submit, my lord, that there is no proof that the previous witness did not act solely on his own responsibility without the knowledge and consent of my client.
That's not true. Are you trying to blame him for the whole...
Dr. Harris, you are doing your cause no service.
You're trying to throw him to the wolves, is that it? What kind of a deal? What kind of a rotten political deal have you cooked up here?
My lord,
you're in on it too, aren't you? All of you,
my client.
Dr. Harris.
You want to blame him for the whole...
I warn you, sir.
You want to discredit my work? You want me to crawl on my belly and let him go to jail? What kind of a scientist do you think I am? Do you think I recant? I take full responsibility, do you hear me? Nothing was done to that girl without my knowledge. I ordered it. It's my responsibility, not his. I'll make a sworn statement, do you hear me? We tried to save the patient. We worked together as colleagues. Do you think I'd betray a man who worked with me? We lost the patient. If that's a crime, then I'm guilty. Send me to jail.
Morning. You know, I used to think when you reached a certain...
Thank you. I much appreciate your coming down here, particularly after what happened in court.
I'm a doctor.
Must have been coming on for some time, you know.
Sure it's Donald.
Well, he diagnoses himself. He's the wind fever expert. I'm not. I can have him moved to the hospital on your affidavit. Hello, Eli. Sure it's Donald.
You're implying I can't diagnose disease I've worked on for 10 years?
Well, a man who's his own physician has a fool for a patient.
You wouldn't know wind fever if it was under your nose. You're an administrator. Well, go back to your rubber stamp. Leave the field work to the scientists.
I'm sorry you feel that way. I was hoping you'd understand. I'll have them take you up to the hospital.
What for? So you can fill me full of orthodox antibiotics and painkillers. That doesn't work against Donaldson's, and you know it. You're staying here.
Eli, let me take you up there. We can try.
I'd never make the road. Take it from me, Lou, I can't be moved.
Do you have everything you need? I mean, I could bring you down supplies.
We have everything.
Bye. Eli, I know your lawyer had to attack me. I know Martha told him what I said. And it was true in a way. But I want you to understand that's not the reason I testified. I'm a doctor. I had to. I felt you weren't testing properly.
What did you come to me for? You want me to say, I understand, I forgive you. You've got your nerve. I'm dying. You want me to comfort you. You get no deathbed absolution from me. Take your petty, envious, routine soul out of here and corrode in your own guilt.
I'll go and talk to him.
He ought to be moved. I mean, ought to be taken to a hospital.
Oh, no, Lou, leave him alone.
Are you all right? You know, after the trial, I only had one wish. That was to leave here. I was troubled. I wondered, was I doing a disservice not only to Eli, but to medicine?
Lou, I can't answer that.
You know, Eli was right. I do go by the book, and that is no way to push back the frontiers of science. Martha, I want to read his notes. That's the only way I'll know.
What will you know?
Whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong.
But it really doesn't matter now. He's dying.
Well, it could matter. If he was close to a cure for wind fever, then his notes would be published. He'd be a great man, a giant in his field.
Suppose his notes jump without proof. Suppose you were right, and he didn't test. Suppose he has cures that don't exist.
You have my word. No one would know but you and me.
It's very important to you, isn't it? Whether he's right or wrong.
It's the whole point.
Is it, Lou? There are thousands of people he's helped. Wind fever was just a small part of it. There were brilliant discoveries long before wind fever. And then There's his willingness to go to jail, rather than betray a man he's worked with. Don't you see? It doesn't matter whether he's right or wrong. He lies dying a martyr for what he believes in. Fighting for his work. Defying all of you. He's dying as much for science as Bruno or Galileo. He's dying for truth. And that makes him a great man. A saint.
Even if the truth he's dying for is true only for him.
No, it doesn't matter. A man doesn't always have to be right to be great. It has to do with how he's spent his life. What he believes in, what he's dedicated to.
Protecting him.
I always have. That's my function.
See, if he's right, and you can't deny his nose to medicine. But if he's wrong, then you've wasted a lot of years. Without anything that a woman really wants, without any real life fulfillment. Are you willing to face that?
All right, Lou. I'll give you his note. But I don't think you understand. I've tried to explain to you. There's been no waste for me. I'm carrying his child. But aside from that, I've had the highest possible fulfillment. There are very few women who've had the chance I've had. To love a great man.
Mrs. Harris.